Bob on a Monday afternoon, 3 while 4 on Radio Man on 103.1 FM. If anybody would like to phone into the studio hotline, please phone in on 0114 2425 200, or you can follow us on WhatsApp on 07885 99786. You can Facebook us at Iman FM Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Iman FM 1031. You can Skype us at Iman FM 1031. Or if you can speak to anyone in the studio, 0114 and you can always follow us on the new TV channels as well that we've got. You can see the presenters live on Iman TV online, and that's on YouTube, and that's /Iman TV online, and Facebook /Iman TV online as well. Well, welcome back to Radio Man. Like I say, it's a very mild afternoon, a nice spring afternoon actually. But this morning it was quite a busy morning, particularly on the roads and the rail network. As we've seen, there's been this one-day strike in support of this, in my opinion, a silly ruling about just having one person on a train. So if anybody would like to phone in on this subject, I've got many personal views of this, and they are my own, being a health and safety advisor. My opinion is you should have more than one person on a train, because A, if you've got the driver who's going to help people on and off the train who've got disabilities, also who's going to collect all the unwanted fares, because there's millions of pounds lost in that, and also what if you're having an emergency when you need more than one person. So please phone in. You can either phone in on 0114 2425 200. You can WhatsApp it on 0788 55 99786. Yeah, so going back to this about the rail strike today, I mean, I saw an increase in the traffic this morning. Many people are using alternative ways of transport to and from work, because if they don't go to work, they don't get paid. But the subject, I saw an executive from Northern Rail on the news last night, and basically what they're saying is they don't need these guards and ticket collectors on trains, because it can be done by one person. Well, I think we had that on the Supertram in Sheffield, and then after an outcry and loss of revenue potentially, they eventually put ticket collectors back on. Now, I remember as I was talking to Shabir last week on his radio show, we're talking about the good old days in Sheffield, when we used to have bus conductors on most buses, on all buses in fact, so that they could collect the tickets and the driver could concentrate on the driving. I think people, particularly drivers, have got enough on the plate driving vehicles without having to do other activities. I was thinking about this the other day. When you think about lorry drivers, wagon drivers, used to have a driver, what they used to call a driver's mate. Now, we used to see this with people delivering beer to public houses, where they had a drayman and a mate. A lot of wagon drivers used to have a driver's mate, so give him a hand to rope up and sheet up and that. And when you look back, it's been a big impact on employment as well, because all these people have disappeared. When you think how many buses, trams, trains operate throughout this country, how many people have lost their jobs because of this rationalisation? Or is it all about greed? Are these companies, which are private companies, is it all about making money before safety? Well, we've seen accidents. I mean, we saw an accident last year down in London where a tram came off the lines. I'm not saying it was negligence, but, what happens if are they going to bring a one-person crew on an airliner? Is that going to be the next step? We don't know, do we? You see police officers driving around on their own. You see fire officers driving around on their own, which is what I used to do. And you see paramedics driving around on their own. And basically they call that lone working. In my opinion, it's doing it on the cheap. And is it profit before safety? So I'd like to hear your views on that. because it's not going to go away. End of the day, private companies seem to get the way now. You know, whatever they say goes. Because if that had been back under public ownership, perhaps we would have still had conductors on trains, on buses and trams. Like I said, we've got them back on trams, and at the moment we do still have some on trains, apart from down south on Southern Rail. So when you look how overcrowded trains can get, and I saw the news at dinner time where it showed you trains that have been cancelled now this afternoon, so people in many parts of the country won't be able to get home because they cut the trains because they did not assess the demand on people getting on a train. And then that has an impact on other types of public transport, and that includes even taxi drivers. It puts a burden on taxi drivers, and as we know, they're under the cosh anyway because there's that many people watching what they're doing, and everybody's being watched what they're doing, according to what you believe on the news, where televisions and mobile phones are watching you. Or it could be Moscow or North Korea. But these are the things that we have to live with at the moment in our society. Not always good things, are they? I remember, like I spoke to Shabir last week when we were talking about First Browns and people like that, where you had mass employment and less unemployment and less social needs, where people worked and where people were in full employment. So there's many issues there to ask. You know, there's many questions, and basically I would say to people, if you've got issues over this, you contact people that have been elected to represent you, and they're called councillors and MPs, and then subsequently they become government ministers or MEPs. Feeding on from that, Brexit. Well, they're talking about Brexit again, aren't they? So how much is that going to cost us? Well, according to Boris Johnson, we're not going to pay anything. I heard a figure last week of 50 billion that we might have to pay back to the European Parliament. Well, I'm sorry, no good asking me for that. And then latest one today is that Scotland are after another referendum on the decision of when we announce Brexit. So it's all good news, isn't it? Well, it seems to be for some people, but not for others. So there's many topics out there. So getting back to basics, be safe with Bob. Well, I'm just going to give you a warning, and it's been on the national news today. Not talking about mobile phones, but they still are, about using them while you're driving. Or you should not use them while you're driving unless it's hands-free. The latest thing now, they're clamping down, is seatbelts. Now, I'm a big believer in seatbelts, but I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, who was a professional driver with Sheffield Council, and he had an accident in his car, and his seatbelt crushed his ribs, and he's got a similar injury to what I have, what they call a cracked sternum. And the police throughout Yorkshire are now clamping down on people not wearing seatbelts. So there'll be more potential fines coming there. But it could save lives in the long run. And then that's going to take less burden off the NHS as well. So just warning all drivers out there, everybody, taxi drivers, everybody, if you are required to wear a seatbelt under the highway code, wear it, because you could lose it. And that, what I mean by that is you could lose your licence, because sentences are going to get stiffer. As we know, they brought this new scheme in about mobile phones. The next one will be about using e-cigarettes and many other devices that people use when they're driving, and it's surprising what you see, what people do use when they're driving, and that is classed as driving without due care and attention. Feeding on from that, there's a story which happened over the weekend about a lady, a young lady, similar age to me, in Doncaster, who got run down by a car, and sadly she lost her life. So South Yorkshire Police are appealing to anybody that witnessed the accident in Doncaster to come forward with any information on that. And I'm just going to tell you how to contact. Basically, it was a lady who was a grandmother killed in a hit and run is named. Her name is Sue Gravel, age 62, died after a stolen grey or silver BMW car hit her on Station Road in Stainforth at 12:55 p.m. on Saturday. So it wasn't in the dark, it was in the daytime. So if anybody does have any information on that accident, that very tragic accident, please contact South Yorkshire Police on 101. The investigating officer is Police Constable Phil Carson, who has stated we urgently need people to contact us who may have seen the car involved, whether it was before, during or after the collision. Understandably, Susan's family has been left devastated by its loss, and we need to interview the BMW driver as soon as possible. If you were the driver or know them, contact us now. Prior to both collisions, the BMW was seen leaving the Asda car park on Station Road, close to where officers in an unmarked police car were patrolling. The police say their vehicle was not actively pursuing the BMW when the collisions occurred. However, the incident has been referred to the Independent Police Complaints Commission due to the early involvement of officers from the South Yorkshire Force. The incident number you can quote is 841 of 11th of March 2017. So please, if anybody has got any information on that, please phone 101 and try and track down these people who have left the scene and left a woman dying in the road or dead in the road. Not a good way to end your life, is it? I don't know if you saw last week where the person that killed the mother and son down in London, there's a similar situation where he'd been pursued and the police have been investigated over the fatal accident, and he got a very short sentence. And it makes you wonder where they come up with these sentences, because they lost several lives there. And this is something that you must be aware of. When you're walking as a pedestrian nowadays, there are that many, and this has been on the national press, there's that many untaxed, unlicensed, un-MOT'd and illegal drivers on the road. So if you do know people that are driving without insurance, car tax, MOT, driving licence, I think you have a duty to stop these people from driving. I'm not saying snitch on them, but they need stopping, because it could be your family that get run over. Now, last week when I was driving home from Radio Man, I witnessed two 4-wheel drive off-road motorcycles in the Chapeltown area driving down the wrong side of the road against oncoming traffic. Seen the same again today with an off-road motorcycle. No licence plates, so he's got no insurance, no MOT, shouldn't be driving, and they're driving on the road. When I contacted South Yorkshire Police, their response was, "We do not pursue." That is not an answer that I accept. I agree you should not pursue, because you could cause more damage and more loss of life. But there's got to be a way of stopping this practice of people just doing what they want, particularly in Chapeltown area, where it has been very high profile. And hopefully in the next couple of months, next couple of weeks hopefully, we'll be talking to Alan Billings, the Police and Crime Commissioner, on this is going to be one of the topics that we're going to put to him, about the lack of response to all these people that are driving illegally. I know they keep clamping down on it, but they should be clamping down, in my opinion, all the time. So if anybody else has got views on that, please phone in. Just going to touch on one or two stories in the Sheffield Star talking about safety. And I haven't heard about this one, but I'm just going to click into it. And this is breaking news. Detectives investigating a suspected sex attack in a Sheffield park are now exploring the theory that the woman at the centre of the probe may not have been assaulted. And this was in the Western Park opposite the Children's Hospital. They say that although they are unable to rule out any criminality, they suspect that the 21-year-old may have suffered a medical episode in Western Park opposite the city's Children's Hospital, and that she may not have been the victim of an assault after all. So like I said before, if you witness anything like that and the police ask you to come forward, it's not always about arresting people. It's about getting to the truth of what actually happened. And without the help from members of the public, the police cannot patrol every area of the city. So, my opinion is, try and help them. There's many ways you can. The easiest way is just to phone 101, or if you see a police officer, approach the police officer with any information that could be of help to them. So we'll see on that one. Help yourself, help your community. I'm just giving a warning out to people as well about there's been an increase in theft as well in the Sheffield area. There's been a lot of theft from vehicles. Also, one story about which I read in a local free paper in Chapeltown, where a scout group in High Green had their trailer stolen on Packhorse Lane in High Green. And this trailer is used for when they go camping. It carries all the equipment, and somebody hooked it up and took it away. So if anybody's got any information on that, same thing again, contact 101, because it could affect your child. Your child could be a member of the Scout Pack, and they might be going on camp at Easter. Yep. So try and support your community in that way as well. It's not all about, taking law into your own hands. There are police officers out there that will investigate, and in my opinion you should support the police and other statutory services in this time, in this time basically of cuts and everything, because they can't be everywhere all the time. The other thing as well, what I just mentioned about thefts from vehicles, there's been an increase in theft from commercial vehicles. If you've got any tools in your vehicles, particular vans, lock them away, take them inside your house, put a sign on your van, or try and secure your van as best as you can. I heard a story this morning about where somebody pulled into a builder's yard, locked the vehicle. Next minute a van pulled up behind the vehicle with a remote control and opened the van and took the equipment out and then drove off. So that's another scam. People are now scamming remote controls. So the story is, try and lock your vehicle with your key. So we'll have to keep you informed on that one as well. Some good news this week. Today I went down to Shiloh in Rotherham, the Drug and Alcohol Project, who are now not far off from moving. They're moving into new premises on Station Road, which is the old weighbridge, which has been kindly donated by Rotherham Council on a peppercorn rent. And in the next 4 or 5 weeks, Shiloh will be relocating down there, and they are looking for volunteers to go and help out painting. So if anybody's got a spare couple of hours, I'll read out this story out next week when it's nearer the time, with the times and dates of when they want people to go down to help put the finishing touches to their new Shiloh. And then they're going to have an official launch in May with the Mayor of Rotherham. I just want to thank Morrison's again today. I went to Worksop. Well, I went to Ecclesfield Morrison's this morning, picked up a load of free food. And then from there we went over to me and Mick, my friend Mick. We went over to Worksop, to Morrison's. So Vicky Brooks, the community champion, who gave us what we normally get, a large amount of food and other things, and then gave us a nice donation of money to spend in the store as well. So I'd like to thank Mick as well, Mick Hogan, who I played football a couple of times with at Firth Browns, and also Vicky Brooks at the Worksop Morrison's for the kind donation of vouchers that we got, and we spent it wisely on food for the needy people in Rotherham and Sheffield, because we distributed it round several different organisations. And that's, people say, why am I talking about this during my programme? Well, it's making sure it's not only about protecting people, it's also about feeding people, make sure they're safe that way as well. You see it many times on the news, you know, you've seen it in Mosul where they're attacking people, killing people, not feeding people. I saw something today actually about going back to the Second World War. In April 1945, Bomber Command actually sent one of the first food aids into Holland. Holland was at that time cut off from the rest of civilization basically, and they actually dropped tons of food into Holland to keep the people alive. And basically, when you think about what's going off now, you know, we take food twice, 3 times a week to different organisations to feed the needy people in this city of ours, in Rotherham and other parts of the area. And there's a need for everybody, isn't there? So I know people have phoned in the past about helping out. If people would like to phone in and offer help, support, in whatever way they can, please do. The number is 0114 2425 200, and that's on Community Radio, Radio Man, your voice, your choice, on 103.1 FM. Now, we're not far off the commercial break. In the second half, we'll be talking about one or two other stories that are of interest to you. I'll be talking about what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, because like we've got quite a few distinguished guests coming in. I'm going to mention something in the second half about Gary Willoughby, with something that's going off at Hully Reservoir in a couple of weeks, about water safety as well. So if people would like to come in on that, and we'll just get talked about and talk about water safety with Rebecca Ramsey, who's the parent of the young boy who lost his life several years ago, and about a new initiative that's been launched in Rotherham with throw lines. And hopefully, if I'm available or somebody else from Radio Man's available, we'll probably go down there along with many other radio companies and just see what's going off. So I'll see you in the second half, so get those questions ready.
Iman FM. This is Iman FM. You are listening Iman FM 103.1 FM.
ईमान रेडियो 103.1 एफएम के सुनने वालों की खिदमत में परवेज यूसुफ का मोदबाना सलाम। मैं आपके लिए एक खूबसूरत प्रोग्राम ला रहा हूं, चमनज़ारे गजल, एक यादगार प्रोग्राम सुनना ना भूलिएगा 103.1 ईमान एफएम।
Khan Solicitors, experienced criminal defence lawyers in defending your rights. We can assist you get the best possible outcome if you're involved in any criminal matters, including murder, drug offences, sexual offences including grooming, terrorism, fraud and money laundering. We can provide free advice and assistance 24/7 at the police station. Call us on 0114 258 3399 at 351 Abbeydale Road, Sheffield. Visit us at khansolicitors.com. Over 20 years experience in defending your rights.
अरे शमसुद्दीन भाई यहाँ कहाँ घूम रहे हैं?
भैया रॉडरम में कोई खाने का अच्छा जगह है?
रॉडरम में उम्दा और लजीज खानों का वाहिद मरकज चौधरीज ओरिएंट एक्सप्रेस।
अरे भैया तो टाइम जाया ना करो, जल्दी करो, भूख लग रहा है।
देर न लाओ, आज ही आओ ते फायदा उठाओ।
Cater to impress, Chowdhury's Orient Express, Princess Street, Rotherham, telephone 01709 555527।
हर कोई सज्जन मित्र बोले चौधरीज ओरिएंट दे पैगे रोले, कुकड़ पाए दे गोश्त कढ़ाई, आके खाओ होले होले।
Aziz Catering, the award-winning caterers specialising in weddings, engagement, birthdays, business parties or any other special occasion from 30 to 5,000 people and delivered anywhere in the UK. All starters, main course and desserts freshly cooked to order and you're welcome to taste before you order. Aziz Catering, 1 Whitefield Place, Bradford, BD8 9JB. Call 01274 488874. Aziz Catering, once tried, never forgotten.
At iLet4U, we know that being a landlord can be a frustrating business, but it doesn't have to be. iLet4U can find you tenants in under a week. iLet4U, specialist in selective licensed properties.
अगर आप मकान किराए पे लगाना चाहते हैं तो हमारी खिदमत हासिल करें और घर बैठे किराया पाएं। iLet4U पर हम आपके घर को अपना घर समझकर रेंट पे देते हैं।
Start finding tenants today by contacting iLet4U, 60 Page Hall Road, Sheffield, 0114 327 2020.
मुअज़्ज़म अली शहीद वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट के ज़ेरे एहतमाम जेल में कायम अस्पताल में पिछले 18 सालों से इलाज मुआलजा मुस्तहिक अफराद को फीसबिलिल्लाह फराहम कर रहा है। गरीब खानदानों और यतीम बच्चों के लिए माली इमदाद दी जाती है।
With your help we can save lives, educate and help reduce poverty.
आप अपनी ज़कात, सदका और खैरात ट्रस्ट को देकर इस कार खैर में अपना हिस्सा डालें।
For more info call on 077 251 5561 or visit muslimtrust.org.uk.
إعلان عاجل لسائقي سيارات الأجرة وسيارات الأجرة الخاصة وسيارات هاكني كاريج. مستر كومبنسيتر يدفع 2000 جنيه كتعويض لطالبي التعويض لسيارات الأجرة، سيارات البرستيج وسيارات الدفع الرباعي بسبب الحوادث. التعويض مضمون بنسبة 100%. خدمتنا متوفرة طيلة 24 ساعة على 7 أيام. اتصل بنا الآن على الهاتف رقم 0114-386-3386. التعويضات تنطبق على سيارات الأجرة فقط، كل ذلك وفقا للشروط والأحكام.
For the community, by the community, Iman FM, 103.1 FM.
Well, welcome back to Radio Man, Beat Safe with Bob, and a very nice...
Your voice, your choice. You are listening to Radio Iman on 103.1 FM.
तंग दस्ती अगर न हो गालिब, तंदुरुस्ती हजार नेमत है। सहतो ग़िज़ा विदीमान लाई है नाज़िया खान। सुनना ना भूलें हर मंगल की दोपहर 11:30 बजे से 1:30 बजे तक ईमान FM 103.1 FM।
For reliable, professional, and quality immigration services, consulators, sponsorship visas, British citizenship, indefinite leave to remain applications, human rights, domestic violence, judicial reviews. You live your life. Let Consulators do the legal work for you. Call us on 0114-258-3399 or our dedicated 24-hour emergency helpline 07976 958 826 or visit www.consulators.com.
Advertisement is key to meet your business needs. Would you like to boost your business? Do you want to target your market? How can you effectively reach your customers quickly? Here at Iman FM, advertising is a fact. That's affordable, flexible, accessible, targetable. To find your perfect feasible advertisement and sponsorship package, contact Iman Media now on 0114 242 0551. or email info@imanfm.com.
Al Mustafa Welfare Trust works in remote communities in the developing world to provide free eye care and life-changing cataract operations. With your support, we can transform lives. Please donate what you can so we can continue our work by calling 0208 569 6444 and give people like Sadaf hope for the future. Thank you.
हमें एहसास है आपके वक्त का इसीलिए आपका वक्त बचाने के लिए खान ट्रैवल एंड करेंसी ने नाइको कार्ड सर्विसेज का इजरा किया है न्यू आईडी कार्ड एप्लीकेशंस रिन्यूअल्स पाकिस्तानी पासपोर्ट्स रिन्यूअल इसी के साथ-साथ मनी ट्रांसफर ट्रैवल सर्विसेज हज उम्रा सर्विसेज और लाइफ इन द यूके टेस्ट प्रिपरेशन में पेश न डर कतार का न इंतजार का खान ट्रैवल एंड करेंसी पर शुक्रिया एतबार का खान ट्रैवल एंड करेंसी 656 Setter Cliff Road, Sheffield, 014-244-2110.
लौंग वाली इलायची वाली कश्मीरी चाह पिलावांगे हींग वाला तड़का लाके पिशौरी गोश्त खिलावांगे
न्यारी हलीम दे नाल हरन कढ़ाई टेस्ट करावांगे शाही फलूदा लौरी चना चाट रीगल चौक दे दही पल्ले ते गोल गप्पे याद करावांगे
लौंग वाली इलायची वाली कश्मीरी चाह पिलावांगे
जीरे वाला तड़का लाके चने दी दाल खिलावांगे
लौंग वाली इलायची वाली कश्मीरी चाह पिलावांगे
Arooj restaurant now open to reserve your table ring 0114 275 7786 286 Attercliffe Road Sheffield S4 7WZ
एक बारी अरूज ते आओ तानु जाके दे अरूज ते पचावांगे
Yes, who is it?
Mr. Compensator. एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर को हराने की कोशिश में लगी हुई है लेकिन वो ये नहीं जानते मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर को हराना मुश्किल नहीं नामुमकिन है टैक्सी क्लेम ले आओ और 2000 ले जाओ मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर गोल्डन टैक्सी एबिडेल रोड S71FJ कॉल 0114 3863 386 कंडीशंस अप्लाई
You're listening to Iman FM. Time for the news.
Well, welcome back to Radio Man. I think there's a bit of a mix-up with the programming there, but hopefully we're back live on 103.1 FM and a very nice Monday afternoon on the 13th of March 2017. I'm just going to touch on a good story. Well, it started off as a bad story, but hopefully it turned out to be a good one. It's a praise for South Yorkshire Fire Service. And it says, elderly woman rescued from burning Sheffield home after leaving Pannon. And this was published at 9:42 on Saturday the 11th of March. It happened on Friday night. An elderly woman was rescued from her burning Sheffield home last night after a fire ripped through their kitchen. Firefighters said the 69-year-old had left a pan on at her home in Fraser Road, Woodseats, at about 7 p.m. She contacted a carer through a personalised alarm system who attended and helped her out of the terraced house. 3 fire engines from Sheffield Central and Low Edges fire stations arrived at the scene and put the blaze out, which had caused extensive smoke damage to the property. The woman was treated for smoke inhalation by paramedics at the scene. Sean Dodson, watch manager at Low Edges fire station, said the resident had a lucky escape. He said it was very fortunate that she had a personalised alarm system, otherwise this could have been a lot more worse. It just shows how vulnerable our elderly people are and how vital these alarm systems are. She was treated at the scene, but I don't believe she was taken to hospital. He added, it is very important to make sure you never leave cooking unattended, as it can cause fires, as was in this case. I would also urge people to install smoke alarms. So, luckily the lady wasn't too badly injured. Alright, the house had been damaged, but the fire service got there with the paramedics and they managed to put the fire out and rescue the lady. And also it's highlighting the need for people that are living on their own to have some form of contact with emergency contact numbers. And I think in this case it was like the call device that the Sheffield Council provide, so that if you are in distress you can hit the button and somebody will come and attend. But also it's asked the question about leaving things unattended, and also about how many people are living at home that have got medical conditions. You know, it could be dementia, it could be Alzheimer's, it could be anything basically, which causes you to have a lapse of concentration, and then suddenly you've got a potential chaotic situation that you've got to try and deal with. Like I say, next week, hopefully we've got Gary Willoughby from South Yorkshire Fire Service and a colleague of his from Sheffield, and also we've got Emma Scott from Yorkshire Ambulance Service coming in to talk about life-saving devices, both defibrillators, CPR, and also throw lines. This thing about throw lines is what a project that Gary's been running with Rebecca Ramsey, whose son Dylan died several years ago in a drowning accident, and they are installing the first board at the reservoir in Rotherham. I can't remember which one it is yet, so I'm not going to comment on that, but I'll let you know, I'll let Gary tell you about that. And basically it's a throw line that you can throw out to people when you see them in difficulty in open water. So good stories there, positives coming out of negatives, and this feeds on the back of the young Asian boy that died in Rotherham last year in the drowning accident near Parkgate. So many stories to tell. I mean, as I always said to people, are you prepared for the unexpected? Are you got smoke alarms? Well, I know many people that don't have smoke alarms who go into houses and they've either taken the batteries out, taken them down for decorating and forgot to put them back up. But they're there for a reason, and because of the cutbacks in the fire service, people need that initial alert so that they can exit the building safely and hopefully request the attendance from the emergency services. If people haven't got smoke alarms, what number do you dial? Well, you don't dial 999, you dial 272 7202, and that's South Yorkshire Fire Service. And there is another number. If you go on South Yorkshire Fire Service website, you can register online, I think now, so you can register for a visit by some fire officers to come and assess what you need in the house, and they will fit your smoke alarms, and they're worth having, and you know, there's no two ways about it. So please feed on from that. If anybody needs any advice, you can always contact me at the radio on 2425200. You can phone the office on 0114 2420551. Next week, like I said, we've got 2, potentially 3 guests coming in, and basically we're going to be talking about something that's close to my heart, basically, literally, about life-saving. It's not only about defibrillation, CPR, it's also about rescuing people from open water. Now, I phoned my GP up last Monday to make an appointment, and I ended up in A&E. I had a free ride in an ambulance with a chest pain again, which is the effects of CPR. I have no problem with that, because I'd rather that or not be here. So it's learning to live with what you've got. One thing that I did notice last week when I was in the Northern General, and the staff there are unbelievably professional, overworked, understaffed, and they are overwhelmed sometimes by people that shouldn't be there. I arrived in the back of an ambulance, a St John's ambulance, by the way, whose contract might be up, and basically another ambulance crew came out, said they'd virtually been assaulted by a member of the public. Next minute, 4 police officers are walking out with a male person in handcuffs. So I said to people, why do people waste time? Why do they create problems? Why do they create trouble? Why do they create waiting lists in the accident and emergency departments? You know, we've heard so much this last few months, many months, about the demands on the NHS. demands on ambulance service, police, fire. And this is what I was saying before the break about supporting the statutory services, police, fire, ambulance, paramedics, Coast Guard, whatever, and take the load off them. We can do so much ourselves in the communities if we only came together and use a bit of common sense and try and diffuse and try and prevent situations occurring. Alan Billings tried that a few weeks ago in Rotherham when they did the EDL march through Rotherham, which was come at a very expensive demand on South Yorkshire Police and eventually the ratepayers, council taxpayers. But the government would not ban it. Now, we do live in a democracy, but we saw the scenes in Holland yesterday when the Turkish people were marching in response to the expulsion from Holland of Turkish diplomats, which had gone there to talk about the politics in Turkey. And it just shows how the police react in Holland. The dogs bite a lump out of your leg. I saw a piece this week about football in Russia because they're going to hold the World Cup. Man United have played there that week, and basically just the line that came out from Moscow, from Russia, was if you come to Moscow, be prepared for what the punishment that they were going to dish out, because they have a tougher way of policing hooligans and football fans. And it showed you the scenes in France last year when the Russian fans went on the rampage, and they basically said it will not happen again, so we will have to see what happens on that. You know, we live in a very... I was talking to Shahid before we came on air. We live in a very secure country. Yes, there's a lot of problems. Yes, there's a lot of issues. But when you look at how they deal with things in other countries, we don't have much to complain. We shouldn't have much to complain about. We should be praising what we've got in this country. We've got freedom of speech. We let political parties march through towns. We let other people go and protest against them. But we police that at a cost, though. You've got freedom of speech. You can say what you want. Well, you can't now. Be careful what you say on social media. Today, I've been doing the A to Z of health and safety, common sense, whatever you want to call it. And last week we did P. Now this week it's Q. And I thought, what do we ask about that? Questions. Well, I put down Q for questions. And basically, you don't challenge people. You don't attack people. You question their actions. You query why things have been passed in Parliament. This is what House of Lords are doing with Brexit. And then the next one I put down was quantity. We heard in the build-up to the programme about, in the adverts about different charities appealing for aid overseas. You'll go to supermarkets, you'll see what people buy, you look at the quantities they're buying, and you think, we live in a very greedy world, greedy country. Everybody's greedy, to a certain extent. I am. I've got 3 cars and a motorbike. Why? I only need one. Don't need a motorbike anymore. Can't ride it, not with my arm. So I'm greedy, aren't I? I'll put my hand up to it. And then you see what other people have got. I'm not getting into politics, but I saw a bit on the news today about Mosul. How the Syrian army is attacking the ISIS in Mosul. And you see the deprivation and the slaughter of innocent people. And you say, why? Is it all about greed, quantity, quality of life? Well, they haven't got much of a quality of life, have they? And then you think about what we pick up from the food from Morrison's, and we're very grateful for that, because a lot of people out there are in need. I'm not saying they need the food, but they are in need of food, because they could be greedy on other things. You know, they might be greedy on the quantity of drugs and alcohol they drink and use, instead of using that on the quality of life, the quality of food that they need. You look at how many clothes people buy, you look at how many cars, how many phones they buy, and they always used to say quality, not, and I'm not swearing when I say it, it's crap. And in a couple of weeks we're going to be talking about quality in regards to electrical items. I've got a guest coming in, and he's the owner of Nova Electronics in Sheffield on Atcliffe Road, Stephen Dakin, and he'll be coming in. We'll be talking about quality and querying why things fail. And things do fail for reasons, don't they? This last weekend I've been down to my caravan down on the Lincolnshire coast, and I'm going to say it to people now. Are you prepared for Easter? That's the next school holiday, by the way, parents, so I'm giving you prior notice. You're about 4 or 5 weeks away from the next school holiday, and there'll be a large exodus of people going on holiday. Could be abroad, could be down south, could be to the east coast, the west coast, Scotland, wherever. And are you prepared for that? And it's, when we talk about things failing, do you maintain things? You could say that about anything, couldn't you? You could say, do you maintain relationships? Do governments maintain relationships? And is that why things fail? If you don't maintain a machine, a car, that could fail. With those, you can just go out at the moment. Now you can just go out and buy a new one, can't you? So it's all about quality, isn't it? And that used to be a big thing years ago. It's about the quality of life and the quality of the goods that you buy, and not the quantity. You see many programmes nowadays on the television about people's personal choice, don't you? They want everything, don't they? Jewels, clothes, nice houses. And then you look at other people on the other end of the spectrum. Oh, for whatever reason, they haven't got quality. They've got the crap. And this is what we're seeing more and more of. You can go down. I'll tell you something I've noticed since I've been away. You go into different parts of the country, and there is such a divide in quality of life. You walk down Sheffield city centre, and I do it many times. I do it in Rotherham, do it all over, do it in Manchester, and you see people sleeping on the streets, people begging. And you think, what is the world coming to when people have to sit and beg? Or ask for food, or require handouts. We should not need to do that in this country. But you go down other parts, which I did last year, and I do when I go down Lincolnshire, or certain parts of Lincolnshire, and it's completely different. People talk, streets are clean, people of all nationalities work together, and it's work down there because it's such a rural manufacturing area in regard to food. When I went down to Devon last year, when I went out to the fire service centre down there, a different quality of life down there, and people in these small towns, in villages, they don't have like your high street shops. So they manage on what they've got. They manage with quality, not quantity. This leads into health and safety. I mean, I've always hammered home about certain companies that manufacture stuff abroad, and we're all guilty of it. We've all bought stuff from high street shops that manufacture in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in India, in China, all over, and you look at their health and safety. Well, we turn a blind eye to that, don't we? I've been in these factories. I've been in factories in China. I know what they're like. I'd never buy another thing from China. All these factories that I saw in China. When you see young children at 10-year-old working in a sweatshop. So we've all got a responsibility to be more careful in how we deal with life, don't we? And that boils down to safety, doesn't it? In my opinion, we've sent that much manufacturing abroad. That's created a problem back home in that we don't have the employment. One of the reasons a lot of people have come out of Brexit or voted to come out of Europe is because of the mass migration, and they're not immigrants, they are legally here. People from European countries that have a legal right to work in this country. But a lot don't. A lot come here for the benefit side. So we've got to ask the question, do we stand up? And I'm not getting political here, but it sounds like it. Do we stand up and allow things to carry on? Or do we say enough's enough and start saying we need to invest in A, B and C? Could be anything. Could be manufacturing, education, in the youth of tomorrow. Like I said, next week we were talking about investment, but we were talking about investment into life-saving devices. And also we were talking about the demands on the emergency services in both like the fire service and the ambulance service. And if people do have any questions that they want to bring forward next week, phone them in before. If you phone the office on 0114 2420 551, I'd like to have a list of questions to put to Gary Willoughby and Emma Scott, who works for Yorkshire Ambulance Service. Because Sheffield apparently is one of the worst areas for not providing defibrillators. And I think we could set up a challenge to raise enough funds to provide these life-saving devices, because there's more and more people suffering heart defects and illnesses and disease. And, you know, one machine could save somebody's life. So what do you price you put on that? £500, £800? Don't know. We'll find out next week. So think on about those questions. Phone them in on 0114 2420 551, and let's have a good show next week. Let's get one or two people phoning in, contributing to the programme, and have a safe week. And like I said, make sure you don't do a lot of frying, and I will speak to you next week.
Iman FM. This is Iman FM. You are listening Iman FM 103.1 FM. आज की